House of Representatives is set to vote on a resolution seeking to expel New York Republican Congressman George Santos. That could happen as early as this week. If that resolution is successful, Santos would become the sixth lawmaker in the history of the House to be expelled. Santos, for what it's worth, said he thinks it's likely this will happen. CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane joins us now. Scott, is it likely that George Santos will join that very small list of members of the House expelled by the body?
Major, his colleagues who are championing this bill to expel Santos are brimming with confidence. They're overflowing with confidence. They believe they have swung enough votes from the prior vote to expel Santos to make it not only the 2/3 vote they need, but beyond that as well. It's Republicans who have swung from no to yes on this, but it's also Democrats who've done so, who said they were going to keep their powder dry earlier in this process. But it's that House Ethics Committee report released earlier this month, which alleged, among other things, Major, that Santos used campaign money to surround himself with luxury, Botox treatments, spa packages, vacations, for his rent, for fashion, for luxury stores, and all of those findings parallel with the feds continue to allege that he engaged in conspiracy and fraud. He ripped off his donors. He even took some of their credit card numbers and used them on himself. It's hit a critical mass, Major. It's just a question now of whether that vote happens tomorrow or early Friday.
And what has new Speaker Mike Johnson had to say about both the vote and his thoughts as to whether or not it should succeed?
Now, he has raised the prospect this could be a Friday vote. And that's not insignificant, Major. You know this as well as anybody from covering the Hill. Friday vote turnout is little less than vibrant compared to other days. And potentially holding it on a Friday could change the turnout numbers. Not that the likelihood of passage is compromised here, but maybe some people can skip a vote they don't want to take. It's one possibility. But also the Speaker has expressed some concern about this, making the argument that this may set a dangerous precedent, that there could be a tit for tat that follows any expulsion, the sixth ever in U.S. history. Yeah, this is history, Major, but this has already been a groundbreaking Congress where unexpected things happen, and there has been some concern about retaliation and the mucking up of the House floor with more of these censures and expulsion resolutions and impeachment arguments.
But for the audience's benefit, Scott, expulsion is quite different than censure. And yes, there has been a conversation, a rather lively one, about whether censuring has sort of run amok. But expulsion is still, it seems to me, a serious matter. And lawmakers were in one place on this a month and a half ago, and they've moved to another place. So it looks like they're giving it some due thought.
This is a different level, absolutely. And some of the supporters of this measure, which includes, by the way, New York Republicans who say they're sick of talking about George Santos and being bogged down by George Santos, they tell me that this is a one-of-a-kind case, which requires that very high measure of expulsion. It's the New York Republicans who've been ginning up interest in this, and a few Democrats, to be fair. Robert Garcia of California, Dan Goldman of New York were there on the floor trying to expedite this thing yesterday, and they have started a clock that you can almost hear ticking off the marble, set to expire tomorrow or Friday.
Across the Capitol, senators are pushing to try to end Alabama Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville's hold on military confirmations, that is to say, pending promotions in the United States military. Walk us through where we are on this.
Yeah, the Senate Rules Committee has set the table to do an end run around Tommy Tuberville to end this hold he's put on military confirmations. I talked to one senator today about this, John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, who said if Senator Tuberville is trying to make a point, he's made the point over the past few months, and it's time to yield. You get in the sense, talking to a number of senators here, Major, that this end run they're preparing may just be leverage to convince Senator Tuberville to yield or back down. And we're going to get to a pretty critical point here in the next few days where that decision has to be made. Is he going to back down, or will the Senate do something that is so uncommon, change its own rules, in essence, to circumvent him?
Scott MacFarlane with all the important details. Thank you so very much.